The hashtag First Cartoon Crush went viral on Twitter last week, and I could not stop reading it. It was so fascinating. I'm somebody who did get cartoon crushes, so none of this was weird to me. And as a creator, I would be so flattered if people had crushes on my original characters. That's something to aspire to, honestly. So I saw a lot of obscure characters, foreign characters, stuff I didn't quite recognize. Saw mostly the Western stuff. There were some anime characters, but this is mostly focused on Western animation. Saw some weird ones. I saw SpongeBob on there. I don't know if that was a serious answer. I could see a little kid, maybe 3 to 5, doing that. Or maybe older, no judgments. But the internet's also a really sarcastic place, so it could have been a troll answer. I'll never know. I also saw a lot of the same characters come up over and over again, so I'll talk about what I saw come up the most before talking about mine. Male characters, what I saw a lot. Danny Phantom came up a lot. Funny thing is, as a kid, I thought he was a bit of a dick. I am a fan of the show, by the way. I like the world, the powers, the villains. That show is also super fan servicey, so it does not surprise me that so many people like the characters as much as they did. Never got me as much as the way other people did, so that was that. I saw a lot of Trent from Daria, a lot of Disney princes, saw Prince Eric, Aladdin, and Tarzan come up the most, saw Tuxedo Mask from Sailor Moon. What else? Oh, there were a couple others. Yeah, I saw Robin from Teen Titans, classic Teen Titans. I saw Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender, but only in season 3, not 1 or 2. A redemption arc, a haircut, and some awkwardness tends to do wonders for a person. The outlier of that group was Robin Hood from the Disney film, because the general pattern I saw, I'm describing as black-haired, snarky, emo sad boys. Female characters, I saw a lot of goth, snarky, alternative characters as well. Straight dudes I noticed liked Kim Possible a lot. Queer women tended to go for Shigo more. Both tended to like Sam from Totally Spies. I saw a lot of Meg from Hercules. The Disney princesses that came up the most were Ariel and Jasmine. I saw Raven from classic Teen Titans more so than Starfire. And I haven't watched this show a ton specifically, so I'm not too familiar with the character, but Vanessa from Phineas and Ferb. Hope I got the name right. If not, you'll be correcting me in the comments. Mine was number 5 from Codename Kids Next Door. I was 10. This was also much more in a romantic sense. It was never in a sexual way. Though I know a lot of these were also people's first sexual awakening, you know, power to ya. My cartoon crushes were always in a romantic way. I'll start by saying the superficial stuff. I'm not somebody who likes looks alone, and a lot of people, even though we think a lot of people work this way, and to some extent, people do tend to be really superficial, especially when they're young, but your personality comes out even in the superficial stuff. The way you dress, the way you compose yourself, the way you style your hair, the way you do your makeup. A lot of that is influenced by your personality. So even if you're looking at the superficial stuff, there is still personality coming through. And 10-year-old me found number 5 so pretty. I liked her style. I liked her color coordination. She had really pretty hair, really nice smile. And ultimately, she was a really, really good character, and judging by some of the response, even years later, a lot of people agree. She was obviously my favorite character as well. She had the best stories, because they were all candy hunting related. She was essentially a child Indiana Jones, which was so cool to see. I liked her because she was the smart one. I liked smart characters. And she wasn't just an honor student. She wasn't just book smart, even though she was. She also had a lot of emotional intelligence. She was the second in command, so she had a ton of power, too. She had a ton of say, and she was in a leadership role. But what was interesting is that she had doubts about her capabilities as a leader and she didn't want the responsibilities, you could see that she was somebody who would even be a better leader than number one. And the show acknowledges that a couple times, but she doesn't want the responsibility. She values her downtime too much, and she's afraid of taking on responsibilities and growing up. Which you see in a couple episodes. I'd say Operation Maurice is a big one for that. Which was honestly really, really interesting. You got to see she's not perfect. She's not a Mary Sue, even though she is the most capable one on the team. I love competent characters, and that's very much what she was. She had her role in the team, and she did it very, very well. She wasn't the screw-up, which I appreciate. Those characters tended to annoy me, the screw-up characters. But she did her job well. She was interesting. She was essentially the team mom. But it was never a way where it was a detriment to her independence as a character. They were all really good characters first. And I really liked how good she was on the team, how smart she was, but I also liked how freaking loyal she was to her friends. Kids Next Door is probably, you know what, I should put on the hat. I've had this hat since I was a kid. I kind of, there. But what I was saying was Kids Next Door is probably the best representation of friendship I've ever seen in media, because they were really independent. They had their own lives, their own interests, their own stories, their own episodes. But they also worked really well as a team. And you could see numbers 5 and 4 on a mission together. You could see 2 and 3 on a mission together. But then they all really worked well as a team. They had a really good dynamic. And it wasn't one of these relationships where they're constantly fighting, but then you see, oh, they really do come through for each other. No, you see the love from the start. They do get mad at each other. They do get annoyed with each other. But you know they always got each other's back. That really came through in the writing and the chemistry of the actors. Number 5, I got that especially from. I really got this sense that she so valued her friendships. She very much valued these relationships. And I'd say she was the character that had some difficulties with people she really cared about, because she didn't get along with her sister, Cree. No, they loved each other, but then they had changes in life. Cree became a teenager and didn't get decommissioned, but she escaped decommissioning, and then she was an enemy to the kids next door. They fought a lot, but you can kind of get the sense that there was, and they had a lot of fake outs, by the way, but they genuinely loved each other. But you kind of got the sense, at least I do, that that's kind of why number 5's a little afraid of growing up, and because she sees how people can change. And you also see the relationship with Henrietta von Marzipan. I will refer to Henrietta as Henrietta and as a she because I interpret that character as a trans girl. But their relationship is very interesting to me, because you definitely get the sense that they had a connection. I mean, when the character was known as Heinrich, I definitely interpreted a flirtation between them. The reveal in hindsight does make things a lot better. So, hey, number 5 is LGBT, probably. And she rocks a suit, just saying. Okay, so, but you get the sense that number 5 really took her relationship seriously, and when they didn't work out, she really took it hard. As you can see when she had a relationship with Henrietta, when they were antagonists, she would always try to reason with her. She always tried to bring Henrietta back to reality and snap her out of her villainous ways, but ultimately realized that wasn't going to happen on its own. I also really liked about this character that she did not put up with people's shit, even from people she loved. I mean, she calls out number 1 occasionally, or number 4, but she also has to be put in check too. It's not just her dishing it, she takes it too. Again, happens to everyone. I thought they did a really good job with that. So she was not a Mary Sue. She was legitimately very interesting. She was in the wrong sometimes. But yeah, she really didn't put up with people's shit. She very much had those boundaries, and She has this really great line, because she is still going to come through for Henrietta. She still really cares about her. She has this line, I believe it's at the end of Operation Chocolate, where she says, "Talk to me when you're a little less bitter and a little more sweet." So that's something I really admire and respect. Yeah, so between all that, how smart she was, the stuff she had to overcome, the fact that she took her relationship so seriously, the fact that she could go on a mission alone but also work well with the team, is really why I like this character so much. Also, she can do some really cool flips and tricks and get out of situations in very, very creative ways. I remember there was a very early episode, Operation Lice, where she's stealing chips from the Delightful Children so that the kids next door can have something to eat their nacho cheese with. And she uses a fire extinguisher to propel herself over Sir Toasty, the giant robot the Delightful Children sent after her. So that was really cool. I loved the creativity and how this character thought. Clearly I'm not alone on that. Now that I'm an adult, I can explain a little bit better and analyze a little more why I like this character so much. But yeah, that's just a fun one to look back on. That was my first cartoon crush. And that's why I like the character as much as I did. Because she really is a very well-written, well-acted, very thoughtful character who's still a ton of fun to watch. Like I said, candy hunting stories. She's a child Indiana Jones. Her stories really were the best. I'd be curious, to the handful of you still watching, what were your first cartoon crushes? Were yours some of the ones I listed earlier? Were they more obscure? Something I haven't mentioned? I'd be so curious. Again, this stuff is endlessly fascinating to me. Or if you have live action characters you're interested in, I'd love to hear about them too. Those are mine. Those are my thoughts. Love this show. Love those characters. And still look back on the show very fondly. What are your cartoon crushes?